Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have audio on this? Yes, thank you. I even double checked the clicker button. Thanks. This is Marilyn, and it's the noon edition of Welcome to My World on December the 3rd. So, my goodness, we've had lots and lots of movement in these markets this morning. We've got some things that you just don't see very often. We've got bonds, what was it, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and it went north over 3 deviation levels, and now it has gone down way more than 3 deviation levels. If you've monitored the DAX, it's gone down way more than 3 deviation levels. I don't have the charts that I kind of monitor for the euro and the dollar to tell you about the deviation levels. Some of you do have those up because you trade them. But this is huge movement today, huge. Canadian dollar, really big. The only thing that hasn't moved very much today, literally the only thing, is crude oil and gold. And so tomorrow may be the big day for crude oil, but there were plenty of markets to trade this morning, that's for sure. We have the VIX right now. It's almost to 17. We'll see if that continues to move on up, because if it does, the markets will continue to go on down. And let's see here. There are quite a few. The best trades, I think, today for the things that I trade, which bonds not very often, but boy, today it was a lovely day to be trading bonds. The TF has given some nice trades also. Crude oil, not so much. It's possible, but I didn't like. We got a lot of this yellow candle stuff in here, and that's a very good sign to stay away from that. But if you also notice, there's a lot of volume up here at this blue mid-ice today. So I would anticipate that now that it's starting, at least it's trying to put in green apexes again after it fell off. I would anticipate that it is more likely to go up here than not. We'll see if that, well, that was a good burst right there. If you are trying to learn to read these apexes, A's and E's and what have you, we got some ones that started and then they become old ones. And I know it's very frustrating when you're starting to learn this system of because that is green or red for a time. But believe me, the more you watch this, the more you will learn to anticipate when that E is likely to turn into an old one. And it's because the next bar, you'll see these bars develop a bit of a personality, and you will see it. It does not want to exceed right there. This one, it does not want to exceed right there. And that's a pretty good indication that if you have taken your entry at 3 ticks above the E per the rule, and do it on a stop, you will not get filled, which is, in those cases, a good thing. I wanted to also remind everybody to mark up your charts. Lori has been talking to me about that too. the people who mark their charts, and there's a jillion ways to get them to us. None of us mind whatsoever. You can send them to Daryl. You can get Lori to look at them. They're better at the sharpshooter. I personally prefer the diagnostic and the apex, but that's okay. Whatever it is, you can get you. If you don't want to put them in the room, you can put them to us privately. You can put them in the forum. Daryl goes through every single thing that comes into that forum every single day. But get some feedback on your charts, because the thing of it is, you can be sitting there taking entries, and by submitting your charts and getting somebody to take a look at them to make sure you understand, you might find out that you had a misconception about things. And that's number one. You will never, ever, ever find a system that is 100%. There is no such thing as a fail-safe, fail-proof trading system. But the very high probability is what you're looking for. And this Apex stuff will give you the highest probabilities I have ever seen. So take advantage of making sure you understand before you commit real money to any live trades. Make sure you have executed those trades exactly how you thought they should have been executed. I hope the takeaway from this morning has been, if you have never paid attention to the news before, you need to get that right in the forefront of your things to do. And today gave the biggest lesson. Can you imagine anybody who was not aware of what these markets were likely to do because of the news? And this is an incredibly busy news week. I mean, you can get flattened by that bus when there's no need for that. There's absolutely no need for it. You just have to be aware of when big news is coming, because it can roll through like a freight train. Tomorrow, we're still going to have a lot of news tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got non-farm payroll is coming out at 8:30, and that almost always makes the U.S. markets move. There's a lot of economic news coming out of the Canadian dollar, or coming out of Canada tomorrow. It will affect the Canadian dollar, and it may affect the price of oil also. But those all hit Canada and the U.S. right at 8:30. So please pay attention to those. Tomorrow is the all-day so-called formal meeting of OPEC in, I thought it was in Vienna, maybe in Frankfurt, but it's definitely in Central Europe. We'll see what they have to say. First, the Saudis are signaling they may cut their production, and then now they're saying, no, not so much. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But the OPEC meetings and their announcements from the results of their meetings can really make the energy markets across the board a little bit more volatile than normal, shall we say. Given that, and I think the big issue also on the table that you really, if you're a crude oil trader, you want to keep your eye on, the Brits have now announced that they're going after the Syrian oil fields, and they're going to start taking those down. So there's a lot of things happening that in the Middle East that are going to affect the price of oil also. With that, I think that's about all. I will not be back at 2:30 today. This afternoon is going to be a webinar. I believe Daryl is going to do it. It's on the schedule, the Apex website for 3:30. Sometimes that gets moved up, but it's always recorded. And today is going to be a great, great help, I think, to all of us, because I have to run out for a little while, but I want to be back in time for that webinar, because he's going to go over some of these to clarify some of these trades using this whole sharpshooter system and the charts and stuff. This is going to be a very, very good one. So, no, John says we get John today. Oh boy. Since I don't speak Martinese, I find John a little easier to follow along with. But that's just me. That's why this is my view. So anyway, I will come back on tomorrow morning a little bit before 8:30, just so we remind everybody out there that if you've got trades on right at 8:30 or even 2 or 3 minutes before, you might want to wait on those entries. The other thing is, when there's news like this, please check the Apex news tab on the website, because Daryl puts on great news trades, and the exact time of when to put those on so that you get the best prices for whatever that strategy is. It's very, very useful, helpful, and a lot of people, that's all they do is trade the news. That if there's no big news, they don't trade. Don't even look at it. So, yes, we've got John for sure for the afternoon. Oh boy. So I will come on tomorrow morning and we'll double check that news, and the webinar time, I believe, is at 3:30. John, is that right? 3:30 Eastern? I think that's right. 3:30 Eastern time. Oh boy. All right. Then we'll all get together for sure for that. And I'll see you in the morning. This has been my view from my world in Apex land, brought to you by Apex Investing. See you in the morning.